Welcome to Beyond the Bottom Line with
Anna Letitia Cook.
Good morning and welcome to Beyond the Bottom Line. Today's guest is Julie Schladitz. She's a career management consultant, an executive and a business coach. And we're now doing part 2 of the interview that we started a few months ago called Happiness Revisited, about the habits and strategies that we can use to try and implement this. So welcome back, Julie. I really am so pleased to see you again.
Thanks, Anna. It's great to talk to you as well.
So in the last interview, we were talking about Happiness Revisited, and we talked about the science of happiness and gaining clarity on its impact. So from that, how can we proceed to really the practicality of practically implementing it in our lives instead of just the idea, what we can really do to make a difference? So what do you think about first? What should we try and do first?
I think there's two things there, and one, I'm repeating what I said last time, is this real golden rule is take happiness enhancing decisions. So I mentioned last time with the butterfly, don't pursue it, but prioritize, because pursuing is counterproductive. And I think even when we go into the practical side now, we need to have that really on our minds to say, okay, the decisions have to be happiness enhancing, but please don't, think this is the be all and end all and everything we have to do is searching for happiness. No, Let's just make sure we prioritize it, but don't pursue it. And then on the real practical sense, it's finding out what's really important to you. So to understand where you want to go, how you want to live your life, so that once you've got this vision of how you want to live your life and what's important, you can then actually start putting the practical steps in place. So I think that's the one key thing, is what's important to you.
Okay, so how can we find this out? I mean, strategies to really help do this. Are there any things that we can filter down or any particular steps that you can recommend?
Yeah, I think I have, again, a two-pronged approach. The first thing is really understanding, as I said, what's important to you, but that's a very big concept, isn't it? Well, how do I know what's important to me? I need something to really grab onto.
Yes.
And I think for that, it's really values. What is important to you, and by identifying your values, you can then say, okay, where do I want to go? And then you say, well, how do I identify my values? That's also very big. I mean, there's lots of exercises. You can Google values and they'll give you a list. Or there's exercises like, it's your last day on earth. What do you want to be remembered for? What else is there for an exercise?
Like your legacy of what have I done that's great that I'm leaving to my family, to my friends, things like that. Yeah.
You could do a vision board, for example, as well. What's important to you? And I have to say my absolute favorite is going on my phone and looking at my pictures. And then picking out 12 pictures that really mean a lot to me. And then putting them on again, in an album, a digital album, and saying, okay, why is each picture important? What does it represent in my life?
That's a good idea.
I love that one.
Yes.
And then you can keep looking at it every day as well. But it shows you, or if it's not on your phone, it's on Facebook. What do you pick? What do you put on Facebook? What pictures have you put? And what is so important to you? And I think if you can pick 10 or 12 of those pictures and then just stare at them and say, what is it about that? Why have I posted it on Facebook? Or why have I kept it? Why did I take a picture of it? And I mean, I think if you look in my phone, I've got my family, and then I've got pictures of the lake and trees.
Exactly. I was just thinking, my Instagram account, because my Instagram account is for me. I mean, I don't really care if anyone follows me or not. And I have my family, just a few of them because I don't want the whole world to see them. Lots of sunsets and sunrises, my dogs, and beautiful landscapes. And that is always what I have. And the people that I follow on Instagram are people that do the same thing, plus a few ballet, plus a few sports, plus a few theatre. And you saying that is absolutely brilliant idea. because I can see just from that, that's my values. So
exactly. And then when I get that, and again, this is just me, it's how do I stabilize my life based on my values? And because we're talking about happiness, but it's happiness revisited, because we go through good times and we go through bad times. And in my head, because I work very visually, it's okay, what is stable? And then you look at a table, you look at chairs, and you go, okay, they are stable because they have 4 legs. Really solid. Okay, what are the 4 pillars in my life, taken from my values, that I can work with? And for me, family and friends is absolutely one. My health, my well-being. I have to say finance. Which I think is a weird one, because people say you can't be happy with finance. Well, you can't have stability in your life if you've got worries about it.
Exactly.
And then,
but I think with that, there's a big difference between money, give me a Lamborghini, and just having enough money that you can pay the bills, you can eat, you can feel relaxed. And people confuse that.
Absolutely. And I think also with money, you can do a lot of good with money. You can give it away. You can buy things for people. And I know there was a lot of research, well, not a lot, but I had some research done, can money give you happiness? And yes, it can. But what it can't do is purpose and meaning. And that purpose and meaning is my 4th pillar, if you like. So I have got my values. I've then put, to get stability, what do I need for my chair or my table? What are my 4 real pillars that are going to help me? And then I track them. So I'll have a diary, and every day I've actually drawn on a piece of paper on the computer 4 little circles. And I've named them, and okay, what do I do today for friends and family? Have I called somebody? Have I told somebody I love them? What have I done? Have I planned something for next week? And, well-being, have I gone for a walk today? Have I meditated? Have I, for me, it's very much nature. I love that. But have I eaten healthily?
That's such a good idea. I never thought, because if you do that, that you're really trying to help yourself be in a better place. And also the fact that you can sort of tick off that you've done it, you also feel pleased with yourself because you've done it. You've achieved what you wanted to do. Excellent.
And for me, the diary, for example, it's you get some really pretty ones, can't you, with colour and so I've got this really, and it's what I tell my clients to do as well, because it's very nice. It's just great. So at the end of your day, I mean, I know there's the gratitude exercise where you say, what 3 things are you grateful for today? I do that as well as part of my well-being part. But just writing it down, and that's I have it next to the bed to make sure, okay, have I done that? Have I lived by my values, or am I enhancing it? And then my 4th one, because what have I said? I said family and friends. I've said well-being, finance, and meaning and purpose. And for happiness, that's what we say, is happiness revisited, is this meaning and purpose. So that's my visual reminder for my stability in life. And of course, then we can really get into very specific actions. That's the very basic, when you say, how do you go from theory to practice? That for me is the first step.
But I mean, for someone like me who's a bit scatty, to say the least, and I have a great memory sometimes, and then, it's just gone at other times. So I think it would help me if somehow I could develop some kind of habit or some reflex or anything like that. Is there anything that you recommend, or any way that we can do that we can sort of, get it more in our head to automatically have the idea of doing something?
Yes, I mean, I've got some ideas on that. Absolutely. I mean, and I think the first thing is that we have to say change is possible. So if you understand you can change, then that already gives you the motivation to have this habit. But it's a really important habit that we don't judge events, and that we basically learn from others. And if you'll allow me, I've got to find a piece of paper here. What have I done with it? Do you know, because it's this reflex of change, we need to understand that change is possible, it's going to actually give us the motivation.
Yep.
And hopefully then you'll get down to the very strict thing of putting things in a diary or whatever, in a nice coloured thing, having identified it.
Yeah.
But do you know, or would you be interested if I read this autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson? It's only going to take a minute.
Yep.
Because I think it's something that's really important. And I know it's used in self-help groups.
Yeah.
But so really as what reflex or what habit can I gain is, so it's called an autobiography in 5 short chapters. Chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there. I still fall. It's a habit, but my eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5, I walk down another street.
Oh, wow. Oh,
So,
my God, that means so much.
yeah.
That's brilliant. That's such a good exercise. I mean, it really shows exactly how you can take your route around, how you can decide and make the choice of what you're doing.
Yeah. So I think that's for me the very first reflex.
Yep.
Is to understand you can have change.
Yep.
And I think another one, so a habit or a reflex, is an amazing TED talk. I love this TED talk by Guy Winch.
Yeah.
And I have to remember, what is it? It's the importance of self-compassion. Let's see if I can find it somewhere. Do I have it written down for you? If not, I'll give it to you.
You can send me later, and I'll put the link up on the page.
And it's this psychologist who explains very much the importance of self-compassion.
Yeah.
And also, if we go back to my 4 chairs, my family, my 4 legs of my chair, family and friends are one of my really key things.
Yes.
And Guy Winch explains actually that the very first thing we should do is to be kind to ourselves.
Yes.
And if we're kind to ourselves, actually, that already helps relationships.
Yeah.
Because people are actually automatically attracted to us because, we're just nicer people if we're already showing our own self-compassion.
Yeah.
And in the video, he explains the difference between mental hurt, obviously, and our physical. Yep. So if you fall over, you put a bandage on your knee or, a plaster on your knee. But mental, people just tend to say, well, just get on with it. Yep. And we don't take care of ourselves.
Yep.
So this is really going into my second pillar for my chair being well-being. And he explains that if we just ruminate the whole time and go, why did I do it? Why did this happen? What could I have done? And actually, it's almost like, if you see physically, it's like taking the bandage or the plaster off your hand and just sticking a knife in it the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not taking care of your mind. So again, I think that is a step back, is to say a reflex. A, we can make change.
Yep.
And B, be kind to yourself as well. Show gratitude.
That's really interesting, actually, because I've been, this is self-help type things and mental health. I've been carrying guilt around for years about various things, divorces and blah, 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 and all of that. And it's been really blocking me. And I've kept saying, why did I do that? Well, it's just like a broken record.
Yes.
And finally, I decided, okay, this has got to stop. So I'm actually starting coaching with somebody on Friday, and I've booked a 6-month thing really to go through how to not stop feeling guilty, but how to accept that I messed up and move forward using what I've learned to be a better person and release more energy and to be more positive, and to take the step to the green side of the world instead of the dry side of the world.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. I mean, habits can be changed. I've been wallowing in that negative guilt habit for years. I mean, I haven't been really, really bad. I've been absolutely fine, but it's come back to haunt me. And finally, I'm like, no, I have got to stop this, and I've got to go in the right direction. So what you're saying there, it's just so true. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Exactly. And again, I think I'm such a visual person. This idea of this knife going into a wound,
exactly.
All the rumination, it's like, stop it, Julie. Stop putting that knife in that wound.
Yes.
Do something positive.
Yep.
And I think there's another thing that comes out of this very much when you're saying you're thinking about the past, you're ruminating. Sometimes things that happen in the past that we once classified as negative is actually positive.
Yep.
Long term. So, and for me, again, a great example is Gareth Southgate, the England manager, football manager. So if you think back, he was in a pizza advert.
Was he?
Yeah, I think it was Pizza Hut, because he missed this really important penalty in the European Cup in the semi-finals, and was the most, I wouldn't say most hated man in England, but he did this.
He wasn't popular.
Yes. He wasn't popular, put it like. He must have felt awful, and he did an advert for Pizza Hut where he had a brown bag over his head with two eyes cut out, because he didn't want to be recognised. It was funny, but it was a very, very tough time for him.
Yeah.
And so, would he ruminate on this? Would he for years going, why did I miss the penalty kick? Because, I've ruined everybody's life in England. It was a semi-final of the Europeans. And then you take it forward, and I think it was 2018, England were in a penalty shootout again. I think it was against Colombia, and he was a manager.
Yes.
And he prepared them so perfectly for that penalty shootout that England actually won a penalty shootout in a major championship for the first time, I don't know in how many years, but it was his own experience that could at the time have been really negative, well, was perceived as completely negative.
But it gave him the skill. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also, we ruminate on things and go how badly it is, but actually in the future, it may not, be that bad.
Yeah.
So we don't have to think of Gareth Southgate with the paper bag over his head. And it's like, okay, so actually, we might be suffering now, we might be ruminating, but we can always draw from experience.
Yeah.
And it's the flip side as well. We think we have a great experience and actually it turns out bad.
Yep.
So this habit and reflex is, don't judge events.
Yes. Yep. Just wait and use the experience of them.
Yeah.
So is there anything that we need to aim for? Anything special we should aim for? And for trying to do all of this, what sort of time period should we think about?
I think having goals is very important. So you can have a goal for the next 5 years, a goal you want to do to the end of the year, but not to get obsessed by these goals.
Yeah.
It's the journey that's important. And a goal can be just simple, like, what should I be doing more of? What should I be doing less of? What should I start doing? What should I stop doing? It doesn't have to be, I want to be a millionaire or something. It's get some simple goals, very much like my chair. I always go back to that, because for me, it really is something that holds me, is what do I want? And what can I continue doing each day, as opposed to saying, I'm not going to be happy until I have my Ferrari. Yeah. It's let's go for simple things. What do I enjoy? What do I want more of? And there's actually an interesting thing. Again, if you will allow me to read something. Yeah. There's this wonderful book by Bronnie Ware, which is The Top 5 Regrets for Dying.
Yes.
And if we listen, so what can we aim for? Listen to people actually at the end of their lives.
Yep.
And so make sure that we don't get in that situation.
Yes.
And the 5, because I can't remember them by hand, so I've got them on a piece of paper here. So it's, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not like others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I'd stayed in touch with friends. I wish I'd let myself be happier.
Yes.
So again, it's all tied into values, isn't it? It's all into my chair.
Yeah.
But knowing that we're not alone, and that's it. It's finding out really, what do you want And it's not the Ferrari. It might be the Ferrari for someone. I'm not judging. As Gareth Southgate didn't judge, he shouldn't judge. Anything could be good for some people. It'll give them exactly what they want. Oh, your cat's come to do
My cat's come to say hello.
What's the cat's name?
The cat's name is Sooty. Obviously, not exactly an unusual name, but he's a French. Cat. Well, he's a French cat. So in France, Sooty, because I was living in France, and Sooty was a very unusual name in France. But now that I'm back in the UK, everyone has a Sooty, including me.
Lovely.
He's very sweet. He's now on the radiator.
Okay, it's a he, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. No, he's sweet.
Well, there you go. Friends and family, and animals can be in there as well, huh? They're a great...
Definitely.
We have this need to be loved.
Yes.
But, it's love. It doesn't have to be... We all don't have to be in wonderful partnerships. Yeah. It's love by friends, love by family, love by cats, by animals.
Yes. I agree with that. But it's interesting. You talking about the 5, what's it called, the book, The 5 Things of the Dying? 5 Wishes of the Dying?
Top 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. My brother's dying at the moment, which when I say that, everyone thinks, oh my God, what do I say? And they get very uncomfortable. But he's got cancer. He's very old. He's a lot older than me. And he has said, because all of his friends, everyone is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, how awful. And he said, don't be. He said, look at how old I am. I forget, he's 78 or 79 or something, which isn't old, but anyway, he said, look what I've done in my life, because he's been all around the world. He's worked in things he was passionate about. Basically, he was in motor racing for a long time and then in various other things. He's worked also in Africa because he then went into health, and he's worked in Africa helping provide hospitals and clinics. And he said, I've done my passion for motor racing. He even became a journalist for motor racing as a hobby because of that. His Africa, everything he's done to help provide clinics and hospitals for, people that have had nothing. He said, I've been lucky enough to live in all these different countries. I've got a wonderful family. My family are really happy and healthy. He said, why be sad? He said, I have done so many things. I've been so incredibly lucky. And so that, I think, is a lovely balance to 5 Regrets of the Dying. He's also dying, but he's had the luck to do things he really wanted. So I think that ties in very much with your values and your purpose, because yes, he would prefer to live another 10 years if he could, but he said, he cannot regret anything because he's had so many wonderful opportunities. So as you say, with your purpose, your values, your 4 legs of the chair, he's done all of those. Okay, his well-being is falling down at the end, but he's done all the others. And it really proves everything you've said. If you can do that, life's not perfect, but you've got the opportunity to follow the direction you want. So even if you're not happy all the time, because permanent happiness doesn't exist, you can appreciate the beautiful times, and you can stay positive and stay solid in the more complicated times.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, for the 5 Regrets of the Dying, I broke them down and wrote a series on them. It's on my website. And so I just invite people to read that as well, because it was very much, how do you avoid those regrets? So I've just written, I think it's on my LinkedIn profile as well.
What's the name of your website?
So it's sc-careertransition.com.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put all the links on the page. I mean, if you send me the link to that as well, I'll put that one as an extra link.
Fantastic, because I think it's, I wrote that series, from the bottom of my heart as well. It meant a lot to me. So it would be, I'd love people to read it. And obviously, Bronnie's book as well, it is very inspirational. But it's that getting our chair to make sure that it's not wobbly, but we have the support we need from inside. And so I think it's quite enlightening. very happy. It meant a lot anyway when I read that
Yes.
series.
Oh, that's great. So we've come pretty much to the end of our time, but do you have any last piece of wisdom? I always ask you this. I know I probably drive you crazy, but any final piece of wisdom or key focus that you think we should keep in mind that's going to help us going forward?
Okay, so I think, and I have a quote at the end as well, so I'll read my quote.
I like your quotes.
But the final piece of advice is exactly, life is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's why it's Happiness Revisited.
Yeah.
We're never going to have a perfect life. We're going to have ups and downs. Yeah. And for the downs, let's build resilience. And for resilience, it's strong support network. Make sure you're flexible, leverage past experience. How have you got through difficult events? Build self-awareness, prioritize well-being. So that's it. Really, is the word is resilience. Take care of yourself to make sure that chair is really solid.
Yeah.
And my quote to end on then, from Jim Rohn: happiness is not something you postpone for the future. It's something you design for the present.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that is so good. Thank you. Julie, it's been great. Thank you so much for all of that advice. They're brilliant ideas. They're really good exercises. I'm going to start with your 4 circles immediately so that I know what I'm doing and when, and make sure I do them. It's brilliant. Thank you so much. I hope you will come on again in a few months' time, because I really enjoy our conversations. I think there's so much value in them. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Anna. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I've loved it. Thank you.
Lovely. Everybody, you've been listening to Julie Schladitz. You'll find all the information on the webpage, so you can visit her website. You can see all of the links that she's been talking about. And don't forget to come again next week and tune in. Have a lovely week. Take care and see you all soon. Bye.